Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Enchanting Lawyer Podcast. This is your host, Jacob Sapochnik, and today I have a very interesting, exciting guest, a good friend of mine, and we're going to talk about something that I've been getting tons of emails in the past few months, and this is local search. How do we understand what it is? How do we understand the way Google thinks about small local businesses who are local, and all the secrets around ranking high, reviews, and all the good stuff. And so my guest today is Ryan Steinolfson, and he is the
Yep.
CEO and founder of Accelerate Marketing, a digital marketing agency right here in San Diego. It has grown over 500% in the past 4 years, with over 500,000 views on his YouTube channel. Ryan is also known as the Periscope tool guy. He's an expert in live streaming, and we can talk about that as a whole show. He's the inventor of the Scoped Stack, that specializes in social proof management and marketing. He has developed innovative new strategies that helped his clients get 98 five-star reviews, move positions in Google Maps to position A, and increase their revenue by over 20% in less than 78 days. So we'll talk about that and many, many other things that will be of tons of value to our listeners. And Ryan, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you here today. How are you?
Thank you, Jacob. I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I know you're traveling right now, so thank you for taking the time to be with us. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I introduced you a little bit, but why don't you tell us a little bit how you started in marketing and why you have a special a passion and interest in local marketing for small businesses?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, my business, I started in this digital marketing realm, or this in digital marketing about, more than 10 years ago. I was doing some real estate. I was buying and selling real estate, and I was doing a lot of digital marketing for myself. And I realized that, and other people realized that, I knew what I was doing. And so I started helping other friends and to help them, get found on Google and do the similar things that I was doing online. And so I decided eventually to start my agency. And we've been around we've got past the year 3, 4, 5. So we're solidly entrenched, and I enjoy staying at the tip of the spear, if you will. I enjoy staying out on the cutting edge, and I enjoy really seeing how these tools can be leveraged. Not only, local search, I mean, just in general, it's just things are changing so fast, and staying out ahead of
Too
the curve
fast.
is something that I find fun. I enjoy it. I like staying out ahead of the wave. One of my passions is water sports, and I paddle surf, and I just, that's kind of a really good analogy. Is I like staying I like staying out ahead of the wave, and whether it's on the water or in technology.
And we'll talk about that also during the show about some of the cool stuff you do outside of your business. But I mean,
Yeah.
for me as an attorney, which means that I own a small business. I have a small law firm
Mhm.
here locally. I feel that local search has really gotten extremely complex during the past I would say 3-4 years, and I'd say it
Mhm.
became so complex that for an average small business, even for me, that I feel that I know a lot about social and even marketing. It's just too hard for me to keep up with all the changes and all the different things that are happening. And if you're not doing it right, you may lose your spot. So, first of all, how do you even measure success in local search? It's just that there's these terms called KPIs and all these other things. Why don't you kind of explain to us first of all what is local search and why we should care?
Okay, that's a great question. So, what is local search? So, local search. First, let me just distinguish local search from what we call organic search in the
Uh-huh.
industry. So, organic is really getting your website organically ranked in the search results. Local search, what we consider local search, is getting your Google Maps on the map, on the first page of Google. When Google determines that and that's one of the tricky things, because Google doesn't always say or show a matched result when a certain word is typed in. So you might just have your website show up on the first page and no match results show up. Mm-hmm. So in that case, you would just have an opportunity for an organic search ranking, and you wouldn't have a local search ranking. So there's a difference between local being on the maps and then organic being your website. It's first very important to distinguish those two things. Now, right. Local search is basically your website, or is your Google My Business page, which is now it's gone through so many transitions, right. And now it's now called Google My Business, and that your Google My Business page, make no mistake about it, is a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 website. Mm-hmm. All day long. If I was to create a website for you that did all the things that the Google My Business page does for you or for a business, in addition to Google loving it because it's their creation, so they're gonna, they'll favor it potentially. But in spite of that, it's hugely valuable. And the fact that some businesses don't even claim their Google My Business page is just I can't even fathom that. So what the Google My Business page is it's a simple web page that you can, or it's a simple page that you right. can create. It's no different than back, I'm 44 years old. I remember when we used the yellow pages, now we use them for, door stops. And, now, right. Now the yellow pages and the yellow book are all online, and they come in the form of Google My Business, Yelp, Merchant Circle, YP.com. Some of those older books did make it, YP.com, one of them, right. did make it to the internet. They're struggling, but they're still there. And so you get the gist is that basically what happened is those directories moved online, and now we have a way when we're local, when we're in a local area, whether it's on our phone, no matter what, Google can geolocate where we're at, and it will generate local results. And that's what right. That's the whole genesis of local anyways, because I remember years ago, you wouldn't get local results. I would type in dentist, and I would be in South Florida, and it would pull a dentist up from anywhere, And so Google wants results to be very, very precise for you, because they make money based on the relevance of the information that is generated in a search result. Because the more relevant it is, the more likely it is that you're going to use their search engine versus anybody else's. And that's where they make their money. Because, exactly. Yeah, because when you use their search engine, that's when they make their money, because the more people that use it, the more they can actually serve up the ads, which is what people pay for. Even to this day, they still dominate search. Oh, they dominate. It's 70%. It's Google. We all focus on Google because it's you got Bing and Yahoo that make up somewhere between 25 and 30% still of the search traffic. Yeah. So how do you claim your listing, and why should you? Okay, it's a really simple process. You can just type in Google My Business. You can walk through the steps. It's very, very easy. Go to Google and type in Google My Business. And why should you? Is because when you do actually have a verified page, that is one of the factors that Google uses to determine if it's going to rank you higher or not higher. If you have claimed your page, then you're obviously, you've made some effort. You've had a postcard sent to your address, and you put in those digits that Google gives you to verify that it's a real address. So there's some validity going on there. There's some verification. So Google's like, oh, well, look, it's a real business with somebody physically there picking up, the mail. So it must be a functioning business. So that's the first step. Once you do that, and then you can do things like you can select the categories that you want to show up for. you can specify the hours, whether whether there's parking or not, the area that you cover, which you can hide or you cannot hide. There's all kind. You can upload photos. You can post on behalf of your Google My Business page, which is hugely valuable because we've seen for our clients that when they post content, even if it's images, the images now are showing up just by themselves in the search results. So some people will see an image in a search that they might be doing for an attorney in West Palm Beach, and one of your images for Google My Business might show up, and they'll click on it and it'll take them to your page, and next thing you know, they might call you,
right.
And so it's just, there's so many benefits to actually going and claiming, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The other thing that's nice is that you can get reviews, which, we do a lot of social proof marketing. Mm-hmm. That's the foundation. And what we consider social proof marketing is where we, first you get reviews, and then we take those reviews and we market your business with the reviews by making sure they show up on your Google My Business page, your Yelp page, your Yahoo, etc. Because look, if you don't have a good reputation, what do you have? And the stats, the statistics show, and we've talked about this on Blab before, the live streaming on Blab, which is another great live streaming platform. But bottom line is that a business needs 10 reviews to be trusted and 5 in order for somebody to make a decision. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have that, it might be on Avo, it might be on
Yelp.
Yelp. But for you guys have a lot of very niche specific, especially attorneys. Like, you've got some directories that are very important that show up when somebody types in your business name. Now, I will say, and this is what I would recommend everybody does, is that if you want to find out, now that we're talking about reputation and we're talking about your Google My Business page, if you want to find out whether or not A, your Google My Business page is claimed, and B, what your reputation is, then just type in your business name and your city, and you'll see your reputation show up front and center. And you'll see, most likely, if you type it in Google, you're going to have your Google My Business page show up right there at the top.
Right.
And you'll see, you can click on it and you can see if it's verified or not, and then you can go through that process that I said earlier to go claim it.
And so, how important are actual reviews and for Google Local, and does it actually help you in the ranking, go up in the ranking?
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable how much it does affect the rankings. We were a year and a half ago, and we've been looking. We're like dinosaurs in this area. We've been our agency, because we've been talking about not just reputation management. We consider reputation management getting reviews. And by the way, I want to also help you guys understand that a lot of times, attorneys especially, you deal with people that maybe have had their name smeared in the online world. That and meaning let me just expound on that. What I mean by that is that they might have a case that's showing up for their name that they want to get pushed down. And a lot of people consider that reputation management. That's a different type of reputation management than what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking reputation management in the context of what I'm saying is just specifically getting reviews on the directories. The other type of reputation management that I just mentioned is really pushing bad information off the first page, and that's a whole different genre of reputation management. So the kind I'm talking about is specifically, there's strategies for getting that stuff off the first page, but that's not what I'm going to be talking about today right now. So what I'm going to be talking about today is getting reviews. What we're talking about is getting reviews on Google, on Yelp, on Bing, so that when people type in your business name and your city, they see those reviews and they see that you've got an amazing reputation. And when they see that, they'll pick the phone up and call you. So your question, though, just to get back to it, was how much do reviews really affect your
local search.
Your local search. And I'm going to expound on that and say how much I'm going to even add to it. How much does it affect not only your local search? Again, how much does it affect a conversion? Meaning, it's one thing to get found, okay? It's another thing to get found and then have somebody pick the phone up and want to call you.
Right.
And that's why I mentioned earlier that you need to get really 10 reviews. In order for your stars, by the way, to show up on the maps so that you stand out, you need to get 5.
Okay.
So that should be your first goal, minimum. Just get 5. And then we want to get to 10 so that you're trusted, because that's what the studies say, is that you need 10 for people to trust you and for people to have enough reviews to be able to make a decision. Because think about it. I mean, if you're looking for a restaurant, I mean, you need 10 reviews. I mean, if you see a business or a restaurant or a hotel that only has like 3 or 4 reviews, there's not enough there to make a decision, right? I mean, so let me get back to your question now. So specifically, how does this affect your local rankings? Well, SEMrush, who I really, and Moz is really a big company out there. They generated a report because they pay attention to the forest. Like we see a lot of the trees, meaning we see a lot of different individual companies, and we're piecing this stuff together from the trees. But they have data from hundreds and hundreds of companies, and what they found is that the review signals as part of the overall pie of your local ranking factors. There's a bunch of local ranking factors, probably 20 or 30 of them. And what we found is that 8.4% of the overall pie is review quantity, review velocity, and review diversity.
Interesting.
So that's just almost 10% of you ranking on the maps, meaning you showing up. By the way, there's only 3 businesses now. We call it the 3-pack now. It used to be the 7-pack, and it's getting smaller and smaller. So now when you type in dentist or attorney or trial attorney or visa attorney in a city like San Diego, where you're from, there's only 3 businesses that are going to show up. And 10% of the likelihood of you showing up in those 3 positions is just flat out you getting a high quantity of reviews,
right,
a high number of reviews, meaning velocity and how fast you get them, and then diversity, meaning like how many different, like just diversity. You want a diverse number of reviews. So
that's true. It's only 3 now. 3 is a tough competition.
Yep. So there's only 3 on the maps, and then the review signals are almost 10% of your overall the overall ability that you have to get ranked in those top 3 positions. So,
Ryan, I wanted to ask you this interesting question because I don't know really the answer to that, but I know that bad reviews are not good for your business. People may not want to choose you, or it's not going to convert. But do you know if they can actually have a negative impact on your local SEO performance as well?
You mean bad reviews?
Yeah, that's something that they have, right?
Yeah, so there is, and I will tell you, there's percentages that we've seen that shows that, and look, it's only 10%, so it's not the only factor out there. It's 10%. So a lot of times I'll have a company say, well, but look, how come this guy that's got 100 reviews and he's got a 5-star rating is in the E position, and then this company that is in the A position only has 5 reviews and a 4.0 star rating? Well, I'm just like, it's because again, it's 10%. It's not, it's not 100%. It's 10%. So you just got to keep that in mind. Now, getting back to what I was saying, there are percentages that we've seen that do indicate that if you, on average, businesses that have more reviews and a higher star rating do rank higher on the maps. There's absolutely, so just the converse can be true as well. I mean, you can say yes. I mean, you will. I mean, so you can see that yes. I mean, it can have a negative effect on your rankings. I mean, it's based on what the numbers say. I'm not saying it's going to be a huge effect. I'm just saying that. And look, it's for 2 reasons. Even if that's not the case, and look, I also want to say this, that nobody has a a perfect day every day. You can't look there. You got to expect, and people expect that you're going to have some negative reviews.
Of course.
So, so it's okay. Just the question is A, do you respond to the reviews? You first, and that's the other thing I'm going to say is if you have reviews out there, respond to them,
right? Whether
they're good or bad, and also contact these people directly, especially if they're bad reviews. We found that 60% of the time that when we just have our clients just phone up the customer and say, hey, look, I hear you. I respect your opinion. We're doing everything we can. Will you come in and have us show you that we have changed, this particular whatever it is. And I will say this as well. A lot of people don't know that you can even change a review. Absolutely. You can, any review can be changed from a 5-star to any way they want.
So you mean that once you're able to communicate with them and they feel, you know what, this is something that, and in fact, it happened to us about a year ago where we got a review from a person that, I guess there was a misunderstanding and she wasn't happy. And I reached out to her and I said, listen, I truly apologize. And we even refunded her fee, didn't ask for anything. And then within 24 hours, she changed her review and she told everybody about the experience. And that was on Yelp, actually. So it's possible.
Yep. It totally is. And they can delete their review and they can actually change it from either going up or going down. So, and that's, a lot of people don't even know that you can do that. So definitely take the time, send a very specific, not a templated email, like one where you are engaging with them so they know that you are hearing them, because that's half the battle sometimes. They just want to be heard. And then B, that you're, and I consulted with my fiance about this, and this, when I first met her, this was 2.5 years ago, she's got an interior design business. And she had one or two of her clients, same thing. And she was on Yelp and she had about 10 reviews at the time and she had about a 3.5-star rating. It was like 3.7. And I was like, hey, babe, I just suggest that you contact these people. She did. And she had them back in. She made that perceived wrong right. And they changed the review. She moved up from a 3.7, 3.8 to about a 4.5. And it literally increased the number of phone calls she got. And we actually measured this by 1 to 2 additional new calls every week. It was amazing in terms of the effect that it had on her business. So.
Now, Ryan, so we talked about Google a little bit. What are some of the directories that we should be aware of? Especially, I'm looking at Yelp, and maybe we can go through some others that we should be aware of.
Oh yeah, so Yelp for sure. I mean, for any business. I'm actually gonna pull this up because Avo. I said earlier. You got lawyers.com specifically for attorneys. Basically, any business out there, the 10,000 pound gorilla is Google Plus, because that's where people are searching for local businesses. And I get that. I know that you guys have local niche, or not local, worldwide niche specific directories like Avo, like lawyers.com, et cetera, that you definitely want to get reviews in. I still favor Google and Yelp and Facebook, and I'm not saying that. I think they're on level, because a lot of people do, especially in your niche, they do look at Avo and they do look at lawyers.com. Those are for across all niches, though. If there's other people listening to this, yes, I mean, you can feel very comfortable focusing on Google, Facebook, and Yelp first, because ultimately, again, that's where people are looking for local businesses, and you want to show up on the maps, and you want to show up on the maps with as close to a 5-star reputation as you can. And there's been studies, Harvard studies that have shown that if you just it was a restaurant study, but they basically showed that if you increase your star rating by 1 star, it corresponded to an overall I think it was somewhere between 5 and 8% increase in overall revenue to the business, gross revenues, with no other change in marketing, just that 1 star increase.
That's huge, and which makes sense, because with so many businesses out there that actually have good reviews and they have good ratings, you really have to come as close as possible to the 5 star. Aside from Yelp, any other directories that you think people should kind of keep an eye for, or something interesting that we're not familiar with?
Well, yeah. Here's the other takeaway I want you guys to have. Okay, it's not just so those are the top ones for your niche, and is those 5 that I already mentioned. On top of that, there's literally hundreds of directories out there. There's some that are worldwide, obviously Google, Facebook, Avo. I mean, then there's regional, and then there's super hyper local, like Chamber of Commerce. Those are very valuable, by the way, to get on, because what the effect that those can have in your rankings locally. Because I haven't gotten to the other 90% of what will make you rank higher on the maps. I've got all the info right in front of me. And if you want, you can find this report. It's the Moz report, the 2015 Local Search Ranking Factor report. It's a great report, and I really respect Moz a lot. I'm actually going to be, and SCM Rush, by the way, as well. I'm going to be speaking with Olga from SCM Rush and her podcast here in about 3 weeks. She's invited me. I met her on a blab. So I love it. I mean, we need to stay connected with these people, because ultimately this is the stuff, just like you guys. I mean, you keep up, you've got continuing education stuff. I mean, we have the same thing. We've got to keep sharpening the saw. And so, my point is that I was getting to is that claim as many directories as you can, guys. I mean, seriously, and the reason why is because another 13.6% of your overall ranking of your ability to be able to rank on the maps is determined by your NAP consistency. Your name, so NAP stands for name, address, and phone number, NAP. Okay, so that NAP needs to be consistent on those directories, meaning your Google, your Yelp, your Bing, your Avo, your lawyers.com, your Merchant Circle, all of them. So in other words, all the way down to the suite. In other words, if you're a suite 200, you want to make sure you're suite 200 everywhere else.
Right.
Okay. You want to make sure that you got the same phone number there on all the directories. Okay. Because that is how Google is determining if you are the same business. Google is a robot. It looks at O's and ones. So that if it sees that one is a 200 and one is not Suite 200, then it's not going to give you credit for that directory. So here's the way Google thinks. Think of your Google My Business page as being your tree. Okay, you want that tree to grow as strong and as tall as possible, as fast as possible. Well, the root system we all know is critical for a tree in its growth and its development. Well, the roots for the tree, think of the roots for the tree as being the other directories for that Google My Business tree. And because ultimately what Google is looking at, it's looking at those roots as being indicators, those other directories, those roots as being indicators of the overall stability of the tree. Because what Google is thinking is, well, you know what? If there's a lot of other directories that are claimed out there for this business, it must have been out there for a long time. And because eventually what happens is these directories roll long enough. Right. So what Google sees is they're like, well, if this business has got 300, 400 directories out there, and some of these are local and they're on the chamber, and they're in, they're listed on the directory in Palm Beach, and that's where it says that their address is on the website, and it's the same exact address with the Suite 100, Suite 200, then that's it. then that's what they're looking for. That's the route that they're looking for. They want to see as many of those routes they could possibly see, and then your water for that tree. Think of the water as being reviews and the content. You posting content in the form of photos and
on the profile.
on the actual Google My Business page.
Yeah.
So that you're posting content as your Google My Business photos, blog posts, like that kind of content, written content on your Google My Business page. So I hope that makes sense.
No, that absolutely does make sense because it's kind of like you have a whole different online property that you have to nurture, that you have to look after, that you have to be aware of, because you have your website, you have your blog, but if you are not building that property that is given to you by Google, and you're making it work for you, you're just putting money on the table. And I think whatever you shared in the last 30 minutes is just so valuable. So Ryan, as we're gonna be reaching the end of our show, I mean, I know you're on traveling right now. You're actually gonna be doing some kite surfing next week, right?
Yeah, we're gonna. That's I enjoy, as I said, all water sports.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be live streaming it. Yeah, I've got a sponsor. It sounds like from a company called Hitcase, and I like
Nice.
Like I said, I like pushing the envelope, and so that's how I I'm getting my claim to fame on Periscope and live streaming. In addition to obviously creating content that's valuable, and that's not all just fun and games and having people watch me when I'm kite surfing.
I think what we're gonna do is, and it's also for our listeners to know, is that I'll bring you back on the show. We're gonna do another one just about Periscope and live stream, because that's really one of your other skills. And I think I have a lot of people that asking me, well, what is this live stream? We see you live stream on Facebook. We see all these other people do Periscope. You do Periscope, so we'll do a show just on that. I kind of explain the basics, why it's important, what's the future. So, but I think this is a very good topic, because small businesses who are not mastering this local directory, the engagement, the reviews are missing out, and they're not visible, and right now the competition is going to get even worse. So Ryan, as we end our show, one tip that you can tell our listeners, whether it's a trick of the trade or it's just something to be aware of about what we were talking about.
Okay. First of all, go and claim all the directories that you possibly can. Claim your Google My Business page. And one of the tricks is, and we can help you with this, is that if you've got a Google My Business page, or if you've had multiple phone numbers in the past, there is a way for you to add in your Google My Business page all of those phone numbers in there. Because, so in other words, if you have other directories out there, and this is great for you, Jacob, too. Right. So if you have this is completely ninja. This is like one of our little secrets. Google just made it so that you can actually add additional phone numbers on your Google My Business page that you had out there maybe as just, residual other additional 800 numbers or whatever. And what it did, though, is in the past, it confused Google when it saw that you had other directories like Merchant Circle that had a different phone number. It wouldn't give you credit for them, like I was saying before, because that NAP wasn't correct.
Right.
So what you can do now as a quick fix, and it was such a pain in the butt to fix it because sometimes you maybe didn't have the logins for that previous directory. Well, your quick fix is now just go into your Google My Business page, put that old phone number in there in the phone number section as an additional phone number, and boom, you get credit for that directory. You don't have to log into it. You'll just get credit for all those other directories, and you can add up to 4 or 5 different phone numbers. So
that's in the dashboard.
There you go.
Right?
You're right in the dashboard. So
wow,
that's a really ninja strategy that they just unlocked recently.
I'll try it on Monday, and I'll let you know how it works, and if obviously I'll reach out to you if there's a problem.
Okay.
I know your phone number. Thank you so much, Ryan, for this great information. And why don't you verbally tell our listeners where they can find you? Your Twitter, your website, your email, whatever you want to share.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so they can go to my business website at accelerateyourmarketing.com. That's accelerate, ACCELERATE, yourmarketing.com. And then You can find me anywhere at Ryan Steinolfson, and that's on Twitter. You can DM me on Twitter. Again, that's Ryan Stein, Steinolf as in Frank, S as in Sam, O-N as in Nancy. So it's Steinolfson, just like it sounds like. So yeah, I mean, that's it. And then, Ryan at accelerateyourmarketing.com is my email. But I really appreciate this. This is fun. I mean, I enjoy, talking about this stuff. So
And I'll link all these, all your information in our show notes. So whoever wasn't able to write it down will be able to see it in our show notes. Excellent.
Okay.
So Ryan, thanks so much for taking the time. This is kind of late for you already, keep enjoying your time in Florida. And I definitely, I want to see that video you kite surfing, and maybe we'll put it in the show notes. That video. In fact, I will put it in the show notes. Absolutely.
Cool.
Make it cool.
All right.
All right. Thanks a lot. Have a beautiful night. And to your listeners, thank you for tuning in every week. Your emails, your comments. I truly appreciate your support, and we'll see you at our next episode. Exciting things coming your way. Thank you. This is Jacob, your host.
Thank you.